Hello, my debaucherous little villains. Welcome back to Hit or Quit. We are here once again to recap House of Villains, episode 3. And here I am with my villainous co host, the wonderful Chappell. Chappell, how are you?
Jenny, I'm good. It's good to be back. It's good to be back
Oh,
talking about villainy. I feel like it's been too long. Like we waited so long for this. Finally got an elimination.
oh
And
my
so
God.
we have a lot to talk about. Um, Especially because, to drag this out for 3 episodes, they really wanted us to really want to see who was going to go home. And I think that I'm not really shocked at the outcome. Were you?
No, definitely not. And I feel like weren't people saying that it was like again, I did not see how it was spoiled in the previews last week. But I will say I felt like E's own social media, like the literal promotion for this show was spoiling like the outcome before Thursday. Like I was seeing tweets that were like showing stuff storylines with Corinne and I was like, well, the last thing you showed us last
Uh-huh.
week was, Jax and Corinne strapped into their seats and we're waiting to find out who gets eliminated. So if you're showing like pictures and tweets of Corinne in different situations, like we're not stupid.
No.
So I don't know why they're trying like what was I'm just annoyed. Okay. I'm just annoyed about the dragging it out. Like, I'm fine with dragging it out over 2 episodes. Cool. The first episode, we got to establish who was on the cast, get our first super villain of the week. That was great. And then drag out, who's going to get eliminated to the end of the second episode. We did not need to do the BB25 veto like treatment because it wasn't really a cliffhanger and the show was just trying to spoil it anyway. And then they do it right at the beginning of this episode. It just felt unnecessary. I don't know if they were just trying to give as much time with the entire cast as possible, but I just feel like if you're going to be spoiling your own outcome, like just throw it at the end of the second episode.
Yeah, Jenny, I have a theory. I
Okay.
think that these people dragged this elimination out for 3 episodes because they gave us those first 2 episodes for free here in the United States. They said, okay, NBC.com, YouTube,
Oh,
you can watch these and you get really invested. And they said, we're not going to show you who goes home. It's behind the paywall. I think they
that's
were
messed up.
breadcrumbing us. Yeah, isn't it? It's kind of screwed
I did
up.
not know. I did not know they were doing that to you guys there because it's on I believe CTV in Canada.
Mm.
And most people with a basic cable package have access to CTV. And episode 3 was ready to go. Like they did not breadcrumb us. So I don't know why for once Canada was not screwed, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the thing is that you could watch it live, sure, on NBC here, but if you
Right.
miss it, NBC.com had the footage for us. I mean, it was on YouTube. It can't get any more
Yeah.
accessible than being on YouTube. And
Mhm.
I go and I have YouTube TV. So I really thought, like, let me go check this out. I pay for YouTube TV. There's got to be a way I could watch this. Nope. They said YouTube TV, the episode would actually drop 2 days after it premieres. So it wouldn't be
Come
airing until
on.
Saturday on YouTube TV, despite already have been like aired, nationally on NBC. It's not on Peacock either, which is NBC's app. So they're really trying to make it difficult for people to watch this without paying for it.
They're
And
in
I'm
their
not a
villain
fan.
era with this. Like they
Oh my
said,
God, yes.
you want to watch this, you better watch it live, you little bitch.
Yeah.
And then they make you wait. They said, "Oh, you had plans? Oh, you had life? You had another show to watch? A little stupid double eviction, Big Brother." And I don't know. It wasn't even at the same time, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It
that's
felt
messed
like
up.
it. Yeah, it felt like they were just being like, you saber-toothed hammerhead bastards. You're gonna watch this when we say you're gonna watch it, or you're gonna pay for that. And so I was very upset to find out that I could not just go watch it on demand. I had to wait. And so,
Yeah.
using the power of the magical interweb, I was able to find the episode.
Thank
Perfectly
God.
legally. Yeah, perfectly
Yes, of
legally.
course,
And
always.
yeah, like the villain I am, I do follow rules, and so I managed to get that, but it just definitely threw me off guard that they really breadcrumbed us 2 episodes out just to be like, and if
Yeah.
you want to see more, you gotta pay to play, and I ain't like that.
Yeah. Do you think that they just were so excited about the way that they banish people that they really just wanted to save that for one more episode? Because we ultimately see Joel McHale announces a unanimous banishment of Jax. And this man, the wall that his chair is strapped to, goes flying backwards and he disappears into the abyss. Like, I think he went to the nether region.
Yeah, and Omarosa sent him. I did not know they were going to give the head of household or the supervillain of the week the ability to press the button of the person that's going to get ejected. And so Jax was in mid sentence talking about how like pleading his case or talking about how he was
We had
shocked
a great time.
he didn't know unanimous what it meant. And so before he can even finish his sentence good, Omarosa says, we're done here, and just boom, out of
Goodbye.
here.
Yeah,
Shoots him out of here. This is a top tier elimination
it was incredible.
mechanism. We've seen a lot of things. We've seen people's torches snuffed. They get
Mhm.
evicted from the Big Brother household. Auf Wiedersehen, on Project Runway. But this, oh no, this is better. I think we need an ejecto seat for every reality show moving forward.
It was I wasn't expecting it. I will say, like, I was trying to figure out why they were strapped into chairs because I was saying it was like giving electric chair. It was like kind of
Yes.
ominous. But no, they're strapped to the chair because it literally it goes like 90-degree angle and swoops into we don't even know where. And it was it was really funny. I will say it was worth it because it's not like it's just watching someone walk out of a house. Like, it's way more interesting and hilarious and absurd, which is, what we're looking for in this show. And then everyone is like Joel's like, "Okay, have a great night." And everyone is like walking away to go through the little bookcase door, and poor Corinne is stuck strapped into her chair. And it's like, "Wait, guys." Wait. It was like, the scene from The Simpsons, when I think it's Ralph Wiggum is like, or no, it's not. Is it Ralph Wiggum? Oh, it's someone. It's like, "Mrs. Palmer Horse, I'd like to get down now." And they're like stuck on the rope. Anyway, I don't know. That's
Yes.
what it was giving to me.
Yes.
Just old Simpsons references.
No. That's a great point. I think that they leave Corinne there, basically leave her for dead. Like, all right, well, bye. And it's like, wait, what's going on here? And so New York is the
Yeah.
only person who hears her Ralph Wiggum-esque cries and like goes over because New York, that's her number one ally. She's like, oh girl, we
Yes.
did it. We saved you. We're good. So moving forward, could you see New York and Corinne being like a power couple? It seems, New York playing a little social game here.
Well, this is the thing is, like, New York, it seems like an incredible friend, but also a terrifying friend for me
Mhm.
personally because we saw her like laying into Corinne last week when she, was upset about her defending like Bobby coming into the bedroom and like causing a scene and ruining her sleep and all of that. And so we thought that she was maybe turning on Corinne here. Um, so she seems like she rides hard for her friends, but also she might just like snap someday and like be like, "I don't F with you." And that to me, like the walking on eggshells part of it is the part that personally terrifies me. It's like, I would love to have a friend like New York, knowing that no matter what, as long as I don't do something extremely effed up, like, she will ride for me. But the fact that, like, and we will get to this, like, there's
Mhm.
a little delulu going on here with New York. The fact that just on a whim she might decide that she like does not like the way you said something, and like how things can turn on a dime, that part would be like very stressful to me.
Yeah.
But I do love their friendship when it's good. Like, I do stand their friendship.
No, they're good together. But you're right. I think New York isn't. I don't think it's on a whim. This was my theory when we talked about it in the last couple episodes.
Right.
When the house gets peaceful, New York kind of looks around and says, "Huh, I wonder what people would think if I flip the table over? What if I just stir the pot a little bit? And so, yeah,
Yeah.
in this episode, we definitely see moments where everything seems like it should be fine. And New York lays in the bed and she kind of meditates on things and she
Mhm.
listens.
We've seen this.
And then she just makes up whatever comes to her mind, that fits whatever angry narrative she wants to spin at that moment. Because New York is the queen of the villains. I'm sorry, I've been ranking them in my head.
No.
I couldn't
It's
determine if it was Omarosa or New York for a split second, but it's very clearly New York because she will make an enemy out of anybody at any given time just because she feels like it and she wants, there always to be good TV. New York is never going to leave us hanging. In this episode, she made it her personal mission to make good TV at the expense of Johnny Bananas.
Yes. So that's very interesting. I love that your take is that she very well knew that Johnny Bananas did not say shit about her, and just decided for whatever reason things were too quiet, or maybe because she had to have heard part of the conversation because she heard Bananas say to Corinne, "Eagles fly alone and then pigeons flock together," or whatever.
Something.
Something like that, a bird analogy. And so she heard that part, but then tagged on her own, like, "And New York is loud and I don't like her." Like, which
And
is
she's
the
stupid.
natural next, yes, she's stupid. The natural next thing you say after like a bird analogy is just, also New York is annoying and loud and stupid.
Right. So
So this
she
was
heard
all
it.
manufactured, is what you're saying.
Yes. Even Johnny Bananas like, how you just gonna come down here making stuff up? New York is so dramatic, but again, she's great TV. I'm sorry. I stand by everything she
Oh,
does. She
it's
was laying in
great.
the bed. She decided my roommate, who I also know I'm ride or die for, allegedly, and is ride or die for me, she's with him. So if he's
Yeah.
talking to anybody, I should at least trust that Corinne would tell me the truth. So when New York comes downstairs, she's wrapped up in her robe because she's not feeling well. She's like, listen, Johnny Bananas, I'm just going to tell you right now. I heard you saying New York is stupid, New York is dumb, and you don't want to work with New York because she's loud and all this other stuff. Johnny Bananas looks directly at Corinne and says, did I say that? She goes, no, you didn't say that.
No.
And it didn't matter. New York's like, I've already decided
No.
that you did. You said it, and I don't care if you didn't say it because it felt like you said it. Sorry, Johnny Bananas. I guess I'm going up on the block. I'm like, New York, why are you
She's getting ahead of herself.
volunteering for this? Yeah.
So then how do you feel about the fact that the and I love the way the show edits stuff. It's really fun. So we get the when New York is overhearing the conversation and then replaying what she hears, they do a fun little edit with it and they have like a chyron or whatever that says like delusion dimension. So they're saying like this is a New York delusion. So they're clearly not getting confirmation from New York herself saying that like I decided to like cause some chaos for fun. So
Mhm.
they're at least trying to tell the story that this is a delusion and this did not actually happen and she imagined this. But do you
Right.
think that that's they're just having fun with that storyline, or did they not they truly just don't know that that's what she's doing?
I think New York believes that she heard it. But I think that she
Yeah.
believes that she heard it because she wants to have heard that. She was looking for,
Okay.
are you calling me dumb? Are you calling me stupid? So when any words are said, that's what she wanted to
Mhm.
hear. So yeah, for her, it's like that's all I needed. I heard that you
Yeah.
said loud. I heard that you said stupid. It's like I didn't say stupid. Yes, you did. You said stupid. You said New York. You said Tiffany Pollard. I heard every word. And so from her, yeah, it might be a little bit delusional because she didn't hear any of that. She didn't.
Yeah.
She heard parts of whatever she thought she heard, and then she just took it and ran with it because that's what she needed to make good TV. She committed to the bit, Jenny.
And I respect it because I mean, we have her to thank for a lot of the conflict that goes, not all of it, but a lot of the conflict that goes on in this episode. And I'm sure a lot of the conflict to come. And I don't know, it's like I almost feel like her bed is like her docking
Yes.
system where she like sits in the bed to like recharge like her drama, and she's like, okay, things are a little too like boring, like, oh my god, even Johnny Bananas, who's like the social butterfly of the house, is like sitting in the other room strumming on his guitar playing Wonderwall for Corinne. This is
Hmm.
boring. He doesn't even want to hang out with these people. Let's cause some chaos. and
Yeah.
she finally like took enough time to like charge the batteries. And that's what I envision is happening when she's just sitting silently in her bed, like processing.
Yeah, she is not the only one either that is manufacturing drama. I just think
Right.
she's the best one at it because in the first
Yeah.
episode we saw Omarosa sit down with Shake immediately and say, "Shake, let's get to know each other because we need to align."
Let's
She
talk
didn't know
business.
anything, right? Let's talk business. It had been
Yeah.
5 seconds. Corinne comes there, is like, "Hi, I'm Corinne. Nice to meet you." Google, figure out who I am, But then she goes to Anfisa. Anfisa's like, "Oh, I haven't met you. My name is Anfisa." She's like, "Oh, you're so
Oh,
sweet,"
hi,
you know.
honey.
So,
Yeah.
so she drew the line in the sand and tried to make Corinne her partner in crime when it came to manufactured drama. We also see Bobby get drunk and just decide to go up and start
Yeah.
yelling at New York. And so seeing New York play this same exact game, it's not out of the ordinary. And we're going to see Johnny Bananas manufacture some drama here too.
Yeah. And I think that that's what makes this show kind of like fun and different is that um it's again, it gets very meta at points because we all know that the people on this show know their role. They know how they are like, packaged. They know how they're supposed to be perceived. They know that they're on the show with the expectation that they will be explosive and cause drama and backstab and whatever. But they're also like all of the meta parts of talking about making good TV or like how many takes it takes to do certain things. Like I love that part too because there is a lot of like conversation about like trying to make drama, and it actually doesn't ruin it for me. Like I can see some people being like, "Oh, this is basically like just watching a bunch of actors like trying to get attention on TV." But like it doesn't ruin it for me because I treat this differently as like a Big Brother or something like that. You have seasoned veterans of television that we know are going to give us a good product and are going to entertain us. And I'm sorry, if you have ever been on reality television and become a villain, you are unhinged in some way at some point. So we know like you're going to continue that energy in some capacity in other shows. It might just be a little bit more intentional and like there might just be like a little bit more awareness around it. But the show is not trying to act like that's not the point. So I appreciate that part of it. And that's like the meta of it that I am really enjoying.
No, no, exactly. I think that you're right. I think that some people could look at this and say it's contrived, they're leaning
Mhm.
into it too much, it's fake, but they wouldn't have gotten to this point if it wasn't something that they could do with ease.
Yeah.
But now they have been on television multiple times. Some of them, this is their second or third time on, but New York is a seasoned veteran. So she knows
Mhm.
exactly what she's supposed to be given. You came here to see New York, the villain. If she starts acting nice, we're going to miss the point of the show. And so when it gets stale and one of them decides to flip a table or cause some drama, this is what we should be expecting from them because you're nuts if you didn't think they did it the first time like this too. You think New York didn't know she was good TV when she was on Flavor of Love? Absolutely, she did. Omarosa knew that she was going to be the queen of that show. Johnny Bananas has been on a billion reality shows as well. These
Yeah.
people know exactly what they're doing. They know what they should be giving, and we're watching a masterclass in reality TV.
Yes. And I do think that, the people that are experienced at it are going to continue to give us the best of that. And we'll see a little bit of like training wheels kind of situations with some of these people that like are newer to it and are maybe not like, historic villains that have been on numerous seasons. So that's where you're seeing people like, Shake, who's kind of like figuring it out as he goes. And like, I would say like, Anfisa is like still kind of like, why am I here a little bit? Because and we in this literal episode, we're getting, and I wanted to get your take on this. We're getting Joel McHale basically like shading Anfisa, basically being like, you don't speak. This is the
Yeah.
most you've spoken this entire time. Do you feel like some of these people that they haven't made a whole like livelihood out of this, that they are kind of playing from behind and haven't caught up to the level of some of these other people in terms of like knowing the entertainment they're trying to provide here?
Right, exactly. They haven't figured out what their character is. Like Anfisa knows who she is and she knows how she was
Right.
portrayed on TV. But what Anfisa should do is she should go watch Survivor Micronesia, and she needs to go talk to Parvati. She needs
Yeah.
to watch it
Yeah.
because Parvati starts off that season and says, "You know what? In my first season of Survivor, I was just so one-dimensional. I was just the flirt, and I didn't use it to further my game too much. I was just that was it. That was the only character flaw, like character like trait that I had, right? And Fisa is very much similar. Like she was just like quote unquote the gold digger. You know,
Mhm.
she is a very quiet person. She is very reserved. That is true about her. But if she came in and said, okay, Parvati found the one thing about her and tried to pretty much weaponize it in Survivor, and it made great TV. She became an iconic television character and villain. And Fisa can do the same thing. Yes, you
Yeah.
got a banging body and you like money. This is a show about winning money, and you got men in this house who are looking at your body and women that are looking at your body. Lean into it.
Everyone's looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing is that, I think that she is more aware of the game than the show. And
Hmm.
so how she's conducting herself is for the game part where she's like, don't make myself a target, like don't be too loud, like play under the radar. Essentially kind of what Johnny Fairplay says that he's doing here.
Hmm.
Um but in a way where it's maybe causing her to be less of a presence in the show.
Yes.
Whereas I think Johnny Fairplay, even though he's still been pretty quiet through 3 episodes in terms of like the overall storyline, um, I think that she's maybe not realizing like how everyone is here and being loud, and whether that actually ends up being something that is a detriment to their game, because like as we will see at the end of this episode, she is one of the 3 people that gets put on the hit list. So I think that maybe because she already has like a quieter personality, like you said, she's like, I am playing the slow game to like win that bag. But it's coming at the expense of like being a bigger personality. And it was just like really funny again to have like the meta of like the host of the show being like, you're barely giving us anything to work with here.
And she's like, "Thank you." You
I
know,
don't care.
yeah. Joe McHale says, whisper what? No, say what you whispered and mumbled under your breath again." He says, "Do whatever's best for your game, Johnny." Like that's it. That's all
Yeah.
she had. You know, or
Yeah.
anybody else is like, "F you, bananas," but not Enfisa.
Literally
She
New
don't have it in
York
her.
being like, F you. I don't give a
Right.
F what you want. Yeah.
And Fisa needs to really focus on the confessional, right? If she can get in the
Mhm.
confessional and do like fair play, like, hey, I'm walking around, I'm shaking hands, I'm high fiving people, but
Mhm.
also these people all suck, they're stupid, and I'm gonna be the best. You know, like talk your trash and show us why
Yeah.
you're a villain. She should be in the
And
confessional being like, I'll do whatever it takes to get this money. I don't care. I'll flirt with women. I'll flirt with men. I'll flirt with whoever. And then they should be putting the little dollar signs behind her eyes whenever she blinks, like Hottie off
I
a Flavor of
mean,
Love. You know?
yeah. They can do that. We know that they can play with it. And I will say like this is not to like dog Amphi's at all. She is giving us a little bit of that. We are getting some of
Yeah.
these confessionals where she's like, I am not interested in a guy like him, but like I know that that's the kind of attention that he wants, and like I'm doing, we get confirmation from her that her only real ally is Omarosa.
Omarosa.
So they
Yeah.
have a, which I'm like, Omarosa's working with everyone. Like, who is she not working with at this point? We see her making nice with Corinne after Jax gets eliminated. She's like, sorry, I'm going all over the place here, but
No, it's fine.
I love Omarosa's like version of being nice. It's so funny to me because she's like, as much as I wanted you gone, I'm glad you stayed. Like her way, like, and
Yes.
doesn't say it with like a sweet tone at all. She's just like, yeah, I really, really wanted you gone, but I'm glad you stayed. It's like, oh,
I'm
thank you.
I'm glad it's you
And
and not Jax.
it's like, yeah, you are the second choice.
Mhm.
So congratulations on being this like the second least liked by me.
Yeah, and you said
Yeah.
if Fisa ends up getting put on the block, but Johnny Bananas does consult her number one ally, Omarosa, and says, I'm not
Yes.
really loving your roommate right now. And she goes, oh, yeah, do what you got to do. And I'm just going to act like I don't know anything about it. And so when
Yeah.
Anfisa ends up on the block, Omarosa's like, my roommate? What? No.
Yes.
How did this
Okay.
happen?
This felt so over the top, and I wasn't sure if it was just because I'm like, it's like, when you have all the information, you're like, oh my God, how, like, so obvious, because we see Bananas take Tanisha and Omarosa on the reward and talk about, I don't trust your roommate. And she's like, oh, I'll pretend to be surprised and upset. But then, like, to see it play out, I was just like, this is so, like, over the top. Like, her face, the way my roommate. Like, I
My
love how these
roommate.
people are acting like, sharing walls with, like, one person for 3 days means that, like, they're family. And this is like, well, we obviously have the roommate alliance, but you see this happening a lot with this particular show. Like, they're
Yes.
saying like, oh, well, like, that's my roomie. Like, this is a big deal. But also we see, and I don't know if you noticed this, I felt like she was also really playing up the whole note gate as well,
Mm.
because she was clearly in on that part of the whole situation as well. And I thought that I could, like, notice her acting along with that storyline as well. And maybe I wouldn't have noticed it as much if I didn't go into it knowing that she was, like, in on it with Bananas.
Mhm.
But I just thought it was, like, so hilarious for her to be like, my roommate, no.
Yeah, she was so devastated. Not a girl, Anfisa. Yeah, that's Omarosa. She's committed to the bit. But
Yeah,
you
she
brought
is.
up Notegate. Uh, we got to talk about it. We
We
do.
should.
Um, we speculated
We
about
knew it
this.
was coming. Mhm.
We knew this was coming. There's a note left on Johnny Bananas' bed that says like, "Hey, Johnny Bananas, don't be stupid. Like these
The
people
house
they
is
don't
turning
trust
on
you.
you.
The house is turning on you."
Whatever
And
that
Johnny
means.
Bananas is like, "This is a woman's handwriting." And Fisa, is this you? No. Okay, Corinne, it must be you. Corinne's like, it's not me, I promise. Like, nope, and nope, it must be you.
Well, you at
Sorry, it must.
least you at least knew something about it. Even if you didn't write it, you knew. You were aware of it.
Yeah, and Corinne's like, are you gonna put me on the block for this? Are you crazy? And he's like, I don't know. Somebody's got to get to the bottom of this. And she's like, and it had to be me. Yeah, I don't know where else to put. It's like, Anfisa, no, not Anfisa. It got to be you. I think you're the only one. Corinne's like, okay, I'm about to lose my mind. So she grabs the note and she just goes out into the hall. This is why this woman's a villain. And not necessarily like this is not villainous, but anytime you're going to get in shouting matches in the middle of the day or in the middle of the night, you're always going to be portrayed as a villain on these shows. She
Of
comes out, she
course.
can get loud too. What the F? So she's
Mhm.
like waving the note, like, who did it? Who wrote the note? Who was it? Y'all afraid of me or something? Like, Corinne just completely understands the assignment. She's supposed to be outraged, and that's what she gives us.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, no one's gonna come out. You're afraid of me, little me." Like, I like that she knows how she is perceived and how to play into that while also still delivering drama. Like, she actually
Mhm.
is great casting. And I'm glad that she's still here because she is aware that playing down her threat level is good for her, like, her, and isn't just dumb. um but also isn't, like, holding back so much that she's, like, kind of becoming a little bit like Anfisa and, like, kind of being like a secondary character.
Mhm.
She's making sure that, like, when there are these opportunities to be like, this is a thing that is upsetting me, and I will show how upset that it makes me. I will, like, elevate those feelings because that's how she's a villain, right? Like,
Yeah.
she takes her emotions and, like, kind of just like, "Blah!" and will call people out.
Mhm.
But at the same time, still asserting that she's not a threat.
Right.
So, like, from a game standpoint, I actually, like, love this for Corinne.
She's good. She's good. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying her. I think if you looked at the list of villains at first, you're probably thinking, huh, what's Corinne gonna do here?
Okay.
But she's stepping it up. She's stepping it up in a
And
way that a lot of them are not.
she said, "You want a showmance? I'll give you showmance." And she says she loves, normally she's flirting for a reason, like to get something, but she says she sincerely likes flirting with Bananas, who she calls Banana, like single banana,
Yeah, you
which I
know
thought
what
was
that means.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like,
Sh-
there's only one banana for me. She's trying
yeah.
to get it.
She said, "I see his body and I want it. I want it
Yeah.
now." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like she is, yeah,
She's
Corinne is ready to
feral.
go. Yeah,
She's feral.
very much so, very much so.
But, like,
And
why are they, like, freaking out about, like, how good Banana's body looks? I'm like, this man is on every goddamn season of the challenge. Have you seen what they do? Like, he has to be in peak physical fitness at, like, all times because at any given moment, they're like, "Okay, like, we're going to, like, Europe, like,
mhm,
for the challenge 373, get ready." Like, of course he's fit. You know what I mean? I just thought
yeah.
that was so bizarre that they were like shocked by his body. I'm like, he does one of the most physical shows you could be doing at like most of the year.
Yeah, these people do not watch the challenge. Let's be very clear. They
No.
they know of Johnny Bananas, but they ain't never seen his work. But is this note his work? I don't think he fesses up to it in this episode, does he?
Well, so people in the chat last week were telling us that this is a thing, and I don't. This was an older season, I believe, that I have not
Hmm.
watched. I am not a challenge historian.
Yes.
But I believe that they were saying that in a challenge season, he got like his sister to write a note like before he even got there. So I'm assuming because there was no reveal about Tanisha or Omarosa being responsible because that I mean they were saying it's feminine writing, so you would think maybe Tanisha or Omarosa were involved in it, but because it wasn't portrayed that way, do we think, and also the note was very generic in content. It was like
Yeah.
so vague. It was like, oh, you like think you know what's going on, the house is against you. Are we assuming that this was also written by Banana Sister or a friend or whoever and was brought in like he had it ready to go coming into the season, made it generic so that he could use it whenever he felt like he needed it?
Yeah. The on the challenge, I think Mark Long even helped him with a note one time. This is in Johnny Bananas playbook. And so, yes, us the viewers who are reality TV consumers,
Mhm.
historians, all we are of course going to suss that kind of stuff out watching it from home. But I think in the room, none of them know that this is a speed Johnny Bananas has. And so for
Which is
him,
wild. Like they're all acting like they should know each other's history, but like they don't seem to know his.
yeah, do you think Johnny Fairplay can pull off the grandma lie again?
I mean, at this point, possibly.
Right. Like you think Jake is gonna know? He's not.
No,
But I think
Shake doesn't
that
know where he is.
no, Shay doesn't know who he is. And we haven't got to him yet, but I got some
Oh,
things
I
to
know.
say. But
I know.
but yeah, Johnny Bananas has pulled this move before. I just thought it was very
Yeah.
surprising that he didn't let us in on the joke in the show.
Mhm.
I'm thinking maybe next episode he might
We
fess up to
will.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this
That's what I'm
time,
thinking too, yeah.
yeah, this time I was like, oh, they're leading. I mean, like to the untrained eye, if you're watching this and you don't have that background knowledge, you might actually think it was Anfisa, Corinne, or maybe one of the other
Yeah.
women. But I think we're pretty much sold on this is not that he's trying to blindside someone, and he really needs to
Yes.
put the eyes on someone else to pull the wool over their eyes. And so that's how Corinne ended up in this spot. I think it's a bad start to a showmance, though, using your showmance as a patsy.
I think that she will forgive him, to be quite honest. I
Mhm.
think that I feel like Corinne will be like, "That was so sexy how you made me think, like, that it was gonna be me just to do this incredible blind side of Bobby."
Ooh,
Like, I
yeah.
honestly think that she's gonna see, the the villainy and the power that he wielded there, and he never said that he was going to put her up. He just kind of you know, had the conversation and played with her a little bit. And I also think that he's a spinster and he can be like, I did that, like, this is good for us. Like, I like that wasn't that fun? Wasn't that exciting? And she'll be like, "Yes, it was." And then they'll probably bone. I don't know.
Right.
I think that they will get past this. But it is pretty like it is pretty messed up that he's like, promising her safety. They're flirting constantly. They have like this low-key showmance. Doesn't bring her on the reward, and then
Doesn't bring on the
basically
reward.
leads her to like believe that she is possibly going to be put on the hit list by him. And in the final seconds, the swerve. It made great TV, and I think that she also can appreciate that. So I think that as long as she knows that Banana still actually truly has her, she will get over it. But I also wanted to mention that Banana's literally confirmed in confessional that like he's like, I've done this before. This has literally been on TV before. So he is already kind of like alluding to the times he's done this before, which also leads me to believe that it is the exact same trick. Like the letter was written by someone external from the game before he even got
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, he already came in with his bag of tricks. Johnny
Mhm.
Bananas is he be playing like 3D chess here, and I think that's what we want from a good villain. Again,
Yeah.
we're learning so much from these players. You know, the move to not leave Omarosa behind at the house and to take her
Yep.
on the excursion so that she
Loved it.
couldn't plot against them. That's so dope, you know. And so here he's like, no, I came in with some tried and true ways that some tactics that I use to stir the pot when I need it to be stirred, and it's working because these people have not done their homework. So had they done their homework, they would be aware that this is something that he can pull. Since they have not, he's running the house with an iron fist right now. There's nothing they can do to stop him.
And so he makes this choice. So we should at some point talk about the challenge that ultimately decides that Bananas is the supervillain of the week. We don't have to go too much into it, but it was very claim to fame.
Yes, it
But
was.
well, I mean, it kind of was. It was like also a little bit of what was the sexy piece?
Yeah, sexy
Not so
beast.
sexy piece.
The greatest hits for Jenny Autumn.
Yeah, exactly. This was for me. I'm also like
Mhm.
kind of like wearing a demon-esque shirt tonight. I'm in my demon bag. Um, I can handle it, unlike Jax, I guess. But yeah, I thought it was so funny this because Bananas wins the challenge and gets this reward, and right in front of Corinne and basically the whole house, he basically says, yeah, I'm gonna take the two women that are almost ready to go because they were like Omarosa's doing her makeup, and he
Mhm.
he chooses Tanisha and Omarosa to go. And I love the rationale for Omarosa that like don't leave her at home just to plot. And it seems that like he has a close working relationship with Tanisha, which we also get confirmed from Tanisha early in the episode, which I feel like I didn't really know that before this episode that they're super tight. And we get confessionals from Tanisha basically saying like, listen, I know like I'm starting to realize this game is every man for himself, but she also is confirming like Bananas is her guy and she will back him in a lot of these things. So I like what an interesting partnership. Is this all just because of like switching the rooms? Because apparently every alliance in this game is has something to do with if you're roommates. And we saw last week Tanisha switched rooms with Jax because of the freaking snoring. And I guess became Banana's roommate, and now they're like super tight.
I think Tanisha just has an under rated social game. You know, it's one of
Right.
those like where the first episode she's like, yeah, Jax was a snack, but he had to go. But she was
Mm-hmm.
close to Jax. And now
Yeah.
here she's close with Bananas. It's like, and she's obviously close with Omarosa to some extent. Who's she not close to? I don't think we've seen her get in any arguments. I mean, don't get me wrong. She does seem like she's pointing out an enemy in Shake right now, but
Yeah.
nobody has said anything negative about Tanisha yet. And so I'm thinking that
Yeah.
this more like exemplifies, how good she is socially. And if this thing comes down to a jury vote in the end, oh yeah, you're probably looking at somebody like
Yeah.
Bananas and Jax, who are probably more than willing to vote for Tanisha if it comes down to it.
Yeah, and that will be really interesting if that's because we have no idea what the show is. It
Done.
took 3 people to get rid of one, like, sorry, 3 episodes to get rid of one person. I think there's only 10 is there only 10 episodes period of the whole show? So, like, we've gotta start escalating things a little bit here. I don't know how this is gonna end, but if there is some sort of jury vote, you're right. Tanisha does have a very good social game, and it does seem like she's good with a lot of people. And Bananas even explains, like, she has a pulse, like the pulse on the house. Like, she talks to people, she knows what's going on. And if she's gonna make an enemy in the house, if it's gonna be Shake, like, who does
It's
Shake
fine.
have? Like,
It's
Shake
fine.
will
Yeah.
have friends and then piss them off by talking about them loudly when not even realizing they're in the next room.
Yeah. And that's another thing that Shake does not have in common with these people. He was not on a show that he had to be like roommates with people very publicly, right? Because they do
Right.
have to, do the pods thing
Mhm.
on that other show, but it wasn't like the show is not like the interaction with the people who are not in the pods, right? It's mostly about
Yeah.
the pods on Love Is Blind. They did have a living
You're not sharing
quarters,
a big house. You're not in you
right?
but you're not sharing bathrooms with, like, a million people, right?
People, right, right,
Yeah.
right, right, or like the real world where you have to live with people and work with them. Omarosa's played Big Brother. New York has played Big Brother. New York lived in the Flavor of Love house, which is probably the most competitive house of any of these people. Corinne, the Bachelor house. Shake
Yeah.
is an only child, and it shows because he does not know how to handle himself around other people when it comes to their space. And I'm not
Yes.
saying only children are all like that, but he's giving them a bad name for sure. By
He
saying,
said
like,
it himself.
yeah, he's like, "I
He
don't clean up. I'm not used to that. My parents take care of me."
Yeah. Which, yeah, I feel like he probably enraged the clean only children of the world, being like, that's not an only child thing. That's a,
Yeah,
like,
everybody thing.
coddled
That's it.
thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, Shake,
Um
is nasty apparently. Tanisha is cleaning up his pee off the toilet seat and everything. It's a grown ass
I
man, y'all.
mean, it is really gross. Like, I
Ugh.
don't know. Like, pee toilet seat is pretty disgusting. I loved Tanisha, like, giving the list of all the cleaning products that she asked production for. It was like Felicia asking for her grocery list in Big Brother 25. She was like, I was asking for Lysol. I was asking for Mr. Clean, Pine Sol, Jesus, God. Like, she
God,
was
yeah.
like, I need help to clean up after this man. He is a slob.
Yeah, and Shake, to give him some credit, he did overhear that people were talking trash about him because apparently it's a very popular subject in his house, and so he
Paper
did clean
thin
up.
walls here.
Yeah, paper
Everyone's
thin wall.
overhearing.
Yeah, Shake was the first victim of this, and now everybody's overhearing everything, except for New
Yeah.
York, of course, who completely
She's hearing her own
misinterpreted.
thing.
Right, that's what I'm like, come on, y'all. Everybody else can hear everything that's being said in this entire house, but New York is the one with the misunderstanding. Okay.
Yeah.
But
True.
yeah, he is so eager to show them that he cleaned up. He's like, hey y'all, look what I did. I cleaned the bathroom. I made my bed.
It
Look at the
was
closet.
it was trage adorable, you know? It was kind of sad, but, like, in a a charming way, but, like, not in, like, an adult charming way, you know? Like,
Yeah, it's like the little kid who's like, "Can I help mommy cook in the kitchen?" It's like, "Okay,
yeah.
you can do something." And they're making a mess. And you're like, "Good job, you helped cook." And then that you
Shake
have
put
to
away
go
his
in and clean up again.
toys.
Right. Good job,
Yeah.
Shake. And I'm
Yeah.
sure they're still cleaning up behind him as he's not paying attention. I mean, there
Yeah.
were parts where I saw paper in the sink where he just, instead of throwing the trash away out of his plate, he just put the entire plate with all the trash on top of it in the sink. Shake, what are you
What
doing?
is
Jacks need to come back and whoop your ass. You
Yeah.
got to clean up after yourself, bro. That's just not that's
Jax, will you
inappropriate.
go to jail for this? For
Yes, Jax, you
to
might need to
take
go to
care
jail
of
for
this.
this. Yeah. Fix it, Shake. Fix it.
Yeah, that was too much. I love that this is, like, a thing. And, like, Bobby Lights, who we have not really talked enough about in this episode, but, like, he is such an opportunist where, like, anytime he overhears anyone complaining about anything, and it could be the most arbitrary stuff, it can just be lifestyle stuff, he's like, well, he's got to go. Like, he
He's
hears
gotta go.
Tanisha complaining about Shakes pee on the seat and is like, well, he's got to go. Like, he loves any opportunity to be like, oh, I guess it's his time. Like,
Yeah.
this guy is a player, which is why Bananas has his number. He knows that that Bobby Lights is the kind of guy that's like he needs to be concerned about, and this is who he has chosen to do the first blind side of the season.
Which is wild because I don't think anybody saw this coming. I actually kind of saw it coming because I realized very quickly that Bobby was getting a lot of content, all in
Content,
relationship to
yeah.
Bananas. And when Bananas is going to plan the blind side, he tells them, and you got to pick somebody who's not expecting it. And I was like, who would least expect this? I was thinking maybe like Fair Play, but we almost get no content from Fair Play. I was like, but Bobby Lights, that would be interesting. And so yeah,
Yeah.
Johnny Bananas is going to end up using the smoke screen that is Corinne and that fake letter to create a diversion so Bobby Lights isn't seeing it coming. But Jenny, is there any strategic value to this blind side, or is it just
Yeah.
Johnny
Does
Bananas
he
is a
have
villain
the
and this is what they
votes?
do?
Well,
Yeah.
so okay. First, I do want to take a moment to kind of complain about, one of the things that I'm often saying I really like about this show is like the editing. I felt like they telegraphed this too much with the confessionals they were using from Bananas, because he literally says like when he like, builds this plan on the reward with Tanisha and Omarosa, he doesn't just say like I'm thinking of blindsiding someone. He says the art of the blindside is you need one person to think that they are 100% safe, and you also need one person who completely thinks that they are not safe and that they're definitely going up, and then like that's the swerve. Like, that was a confessional. If they wanted us to be surprised by Bobby being the person that Bananas ultimately blindsides here, like save that for after, like that piece of
Mhm.
it, because I think that there would have been more room for us to be like thinking about other people that he might be blindsiding if we didn't know the whole point of it was he was going to make someone think that they were going up and they ultimately weren't. So that informed the whole thing with Corinne and the note, where we
Yeah.
knew he was just messing with her the entire time, because he had already told us that that was how he was going to do this. Because a blindside doesn't necessarily have to involve another person thinking they're going up. Like, it just needs
Yeah.
to involve someone going up that really did not see it coming. So the way that he described that this was going to happen made it very obvious that, like, well, okay, it's definitely not Corinne. He already told us
Mhm.
Anfisa's going up. It's very clear between like what happened with him in New York this whole episode that she was going to go up. And so then you start counting like who else could it be? And you're right. You're reading the edit. Bobby Lights, I mean, he's incredibly entertaining, so I understand why he's getting screen time, but like he was getting a lot of content in this episode, and you're not
Yes.
seeing a lot from like, cuz there was a moment where I was like, is he going after Fair Play?
Yeah.
Because like, who
Yeah.
is someone that he's going to choose to blindside here? Who are people that he sees as threats to his game? So there was like a second where I was like, maybe Fair Play, but I'm like, he's not getting enough storyline here, and we're getting a lot of, oh, like, Bananas, do you have a crush on Bobby Lights? And he's like, sometimes. And there's like the whole montage of like them flirting. So I like, it did feel again a little telegraphed. And if this is just how they want to edit it, that's fine. But I would like a little bit of intrigue. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to know what's happening at all times.
Yeah, Bananas tried to give it to us though. He really did. He tried to give us some suspense, some TV. He didn't let us
Mhm.
in on the blind side directly, but yeah, if you're reading the tea leaves, you can see that they're getting a lot of Bananas and Bobby Lights content. Where if I'm Bobby Lights, I'm probably thinking I'm safe too. Him and Bananas are basically flirting the entire time. He's like, "Oh, I would never date anybody on the real world, but I still like to look at Johnny Bananas." I'm thinking, Bobby Lights, you had a dating show. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop trying to be on your high horse about who you will and won't date,
But
sir.
he wouldn't date
Um,
someone from the real world.
Not
That's
from the
where he
real
draws the
world.
line.
Yeah, and I bet that line is drawn in the sand pretty deep now that Johnny Bananas is the one who does betray him in this episode. But Jenny, what is the reason? Like, is Bobby Lights
I
his
know.
actual target? Because New York is walking around the house being like, F you, Johnny Bananas. Why would you
Yeah.
be going after Bobby Lights here when you could easily just take out New York, who is a clear enemy who doesn't want anything to do with you? What's really going on?
It's so confusing to me because we have to look at this show from the lens of how much of this is game and how much of this is I'm making good TV.
Yeah, showmanship.
And so Bananas throughout like the first half of the episode before he ultimately wins this challenge has acknowledged that now that Jax is out the door, he is a big target and he basically feels like if he doesn't win, he's going to be at risk. So that is why he purposely tries to win and become Supervillain of the Week. And so, which is God, it's such a mouthful. I hate it. It's corny, but it's fine. But so he is aware that he's going to be fighting for his life here. So is he just doing flashy moves because he knows his position in the game is dependent on him winning and he might as well like have fun with it while he's doing it and protect people that he doesn't actually see as threats, like people like Shake, who again still is trying to figure out what's going on. And people like Corinne that he knows, likes him and he's going to keep her close. He's not going to be putting any of those people up for elimination and is in a situation where I'm going to work with Omarosa as much as possible because it's better to be with her than against her. So if you're looking at Bobby Lights and seeing like, one, if he doesn't go out, this makes good TV. I did the first real blind side of the season, and that's fun. But also, now that Jax is gone, I would say Bobby Lights is probably like the next best physical competitor next to Bananas, right?
Maybe.
Right? Like who else is up there?
Yeah, I think maybe he's looking at Bobby Lights as I think Shake might be probably I don't know. It's really hard to tell with Shake
tall, like
Bobby is tall and he's well integrated in the house. When Bananas announces that it's Bobby Lights, the house is like, oh my God, not Bobby Lights. And Bobby puts his glasses on. He's like, it's war, baby. Like it's on. But I don't think Bananas can rope Bobby in as easily. I'm assuming that by putting Bobby on the block, you want Bobby to go home. Now, leaving New York to just trounce traipse around the house mad at you, that's odd. But you got to put 3 people up for elimination. 2 people are going to come back every time. It's just that the blind side seemed a little unnecessary because it's not like it's not like Bobby could do anything to save himself. He was going on the block just because Johnny Bananas wanted him to.
Does he have the votes? So this is the thing. Like, obviously we have to have the little, I forget what the name of the competition that they play to find out who comes off of the list. But like, if Bobby is still up for banishment when we get down to 2 options here, are people going to vote him out? Are they going to say, let's take the opportunity while we can? Like, I don't know. Cause this is if this is who Bananas truly wants out, this is kind of a risky move. Someone who's well integrated in the house, has a lot of friends, and we still have a lot of people here. We've only lost 1 person. Like, you need to make sure that the votes are there. Are people just going to do a lot of respect the Supervillain of the Week's wishes and just be like,
no.
sorry?
No, absolutely not. I think that they're going to do whatever they want. And so I think Bobby sitting next to Anfisa, Bobby probably stays. But I think Bobby sitting next to New York, he's out of here. I don't think there's anybody going to send New York home right around now. They know that we're here for good TV, and New York seems to have the same, like a few good alliances. We know that her and Omarosa have a mutual respect for each other because they have not been in one fight yet, and you would think that would have already happened. And then
it's gonna happen.
And it's gonna happen.
The other thing.
Yeah, but she also has Corinne in her pocket as well. So New York is kind of insulated. She has a couple people who go to bat for her. And I just don't think that Bobby against New York is going to work out. But the middle person, Anfisa, is probably who he could do the best against. So yeah, I don't know, but like you said, it's a risky move. I just think it was a flashy move for flashy move's sake. I don't really think that Johnny Bananas had to do this, but I'm glad he did. We needed the good TV.
Yeah, for the sake of television, it was wonderful, even if it felt a little telegraphed. I was still grateful for it. And I wonder, like, can he smooth things over with New York and be like, this is perfect. Like, obviously, who my target is. I'm not putting Bobby up like for no reason.
Mhm.
And, you know, this is a great little thing that we've got going here now because people like think that there's, it's the classic, they'll never expect us to be working together.
Exactly. Right, and that's not
Can
working
we
on New York.
expect her to be that
No.
rational?
No, 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 no. That's not working on New York unless New York wants it to work on her. Like it's not like some like mastermind scheme. Like, okay,
Yeah.
New York, I
So you
couldn't
don't
tell
play
you.
me.
You do not play New York. I don't care if she was
Yeah.
if the scheme was to save her or not. She would much rather you just tell her what's going on. So no, this is a risky move for Johnny Bananas, but I think it's good TV, and I think he's safe for the week, and so he doesn't really care. All he has to do is make sure
Mhm.
he's safe next week, and it doesn't matter what Bobby in New York can do because unless they can prove that they can win a challenge, I think Johnny's safe for a little bit longer.
And if he does get Bobby out, I do think that that's someone that's up there. Maybe not if it's challenges like this one this week, but if it's anything physical, um, or even like mental, I think that Bobby is up there for people that are going to compete hard. He just is not particularly good at figuring out who people are. But if he can get him out, if Banana's plan is to just win as much as possible or help people that he wants to win, then he's in an okay position. It's just we got to see who it gets down to first, like you said. I think that he's got to be worried if it gets down to Anfisa and Bobby ultimately to be, or sorry, New York and Bobby, because I think that people are gonna be looking at New York and be like, "I'm not getting her to New York, like, she's not coming
No,
after me."
right.
Um, Whereas Anfisa is more of, like, a wild card, right? Like, no one really knows what she's
Hmm.
doing, so, but yeah, it should be interesting. What did you think of this challenge, though?
First of all, we get our first little our next cameo, I guess. So last week we had
Oh,
Carol
yeah.
Baskin. This week we have Danielle Staub from The Real Housewives. Jenny, are you familiar with this woman?
I am not. I will fully admit, I most of my Real Housewives knowledge is like very detached and like I don't know all the ins and outs of all of the different cities. So this is I mean it's a name I've heard, but I don't know any of the lore.
Look, all I know about this woman is that yes, she was in The Real Housewives of New Jersey, and yes,
Mhm.
Teresa called her a prostitution whore, and so that's all I got. Prostitution whore. I have that, but I'm not a housewife guy,
Beautiful.
so I don't really know a
Yeah.
lot about her either. But you get a mixed bag of people here. Like New York's like I've never really watched the Housewives, but she seems like a nice lady. And then you got Tanisha said this is the most infamous housewife of all, like one of the most infamous of all time. Bow down
Mhm.
because this lady is a villain and she is villain royalty. So it's so funny that New York's like she seems lovely. So you're like you really should Google these people. You
New
really
York
should.
says sh New York says she doesn't watch TV, which is, like, incredible because I love that this is what she's doing. It's
Mm,
perfect. Whereas Tanisha is
mm-hmm.
like, she knows all these shows, like, she
Yes.
has everyone pegged. What was, like the funny thing about, the Danielle of it all was another opportunity for them to, like, villainize, Shake when at the end of the night, it's like 3:20 AM and Danielle is still at the house. The challenge is over and Shake is eating. He's gonna leave those dishes in the sink.
Mm-hmm.
And she asks him to take her on the tour of the house, and everyone else was so pissed. They're like, they thought it was his idea. They're like, "What is he doing? Taking this woman around on a tour of the house? It's 3 in the morning. We want to go to bed." Like, I love
Yeah.
that this guy is just like he is the patsy. Like, he is getting, like, blamed for everything, and some of it is his fault, but, like, this man was in the middle of eating, and she's like, you want to take me on a tour? And he's like, okay, I guess, sure.
Yeah. He's like, "I don't know who
Um,
this lady is, but okay, fine." This
sure.
is polite. He's trying to beat those, misogyny allegations. He look at Shake, caring
Yeah,
about
he's a
women.
gentleman.
A gentleman, yeah. Shake doesn't know who she is, but he is going to oblige her with a walk around the house that he doesn't even clean up. And that's the other thing that bothers people. Shake, you're taking them into people's rooms and stuff like that. You have not cleaned
Messy.
anything. This woman's
Hmm.
getting a messy tour of the house, and it's because of you, because you're the messiest person here. So yeah,
He
they were
took
sick of
he
it.
he took them into something called the toxic room. And
Yes.
I this is where I learned that the rooms actually had themes, and it wasn't just his bedroom that was the
Right.
toxic
The
room.
toxic room featuring Shake and that of toxic waste.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Simpsons earlier, but it was very much giving that energy, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
power plant. And
Exactly.
so yeah, he gives her a tour, and it's very clear that she just doesn't know what to do with herself. So Danielle Staub also is going to give some people some advice that they did not ask
Oh
for,
my god.
including Bobby Lights. She says,
Bobby hates this woman.
yeah, well, Bobby's trying. Bobby says, "Look, I'm sick that she's here. I'm mad about it, but also I'm gonna try to be a little, chivalrous because she's in the house. She doesn't live here, but we're gonna be good, happy
Good
homemakers here.
host.
And just
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
people like my hosting skills." And I guess he asked her a couple questions or something, and she's asking him questions. She finally just said, "Listen, Bobby, let me give you some advice. When you ask somebody a question, give them a chance to respond, and maybe just listen and not talk so much." And Bobby said, "Wrong, flag and play." That is not what I signed up for. I am Bobby Lights, and I am known for talking too damn much and not giving the people a chance to respond. It's kind of my brand, so we won't be doing that.
Which was iconic. It was
Yeah.
I love that he took a criticism of himself and said, "Mm-mm, this is my
Nope.
trademark. This is what makes me me, and we will not be changing this."
Yeah. Pretty much.
And I'm like,
It-
"Oh, if someone told me that I was doing this, I would be like, it is the ADHD. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
I
Pretty
wouldn't be
much.
like, this is what makes me a villain. I'm like, "Oh my gosh.
Right.
Is my
Am I a
brain what
villain?
makes me the villain?"
Mhm.
Yeah, like, I'm having this
Right.
moment right now.
Yes. No, I
Um,
totally agree. But yeah,
yeah, it's
Danielle Stop
funny.
just walks around the house, just kind of like,
I think she's
la
wanted
la
to
la
she didn't wanna go
la.
home. Like, what's going on in her real life that she just it was like it was like the girl like, the woman that, like, goes out for drinks with her friends, like, they don't go out very often, and it's like, at the end of the night, she's like, "So what now? What are we doing? Like, what's the
What's the
plan,
move?
guys?"
Where are we going,
She
guys?
does
And they're
not
like,
wanna
it's
go
home.
home. Yeah, she doesn't wanna go home to, like, her shitty husband or her kids or whatever. She's like, "I get one night where I go all out." Everyone's like, "We wanna go to bed. Danielle, go home." And she's like, "The night's still young, guys. Like, why don't you show me the house? Like, please don't make me go home."
Right. They
That's
basically
what
put her
this is
out.
doing.
Yeah, it felt like maybe like she had ordered an Uber, but the Uber was taking too long. So she's like,
What are we gonna do? Let's make
so
some
what's up? What do y'all,
conversation.
yeah, what do y'all do at 3 o'clock in the morning? Everyone's like, I'm trying to sleep. So they eventually
Yeah,
just fake go to sleep. So hoping that she'll leave them alone. Like, oh, maybe we'll go get into bed. She'll catch the hint and leave. And she does. But
eventually.
the reason they brought in Danielle was to announce this competition, the Two Face Battle Royale. Um,
Yes.
and this competition does not, for me, play well on television because it's just like
Mm-mm.
a bunch of people in mask walk around and find out who the bunch of other people in mask
Voice
are, but we
the
can't
voice
even understand
modulators
their
too.
voices. Yeah, the
Yeah,
voices really kind of throws off the game, I think, for me, if you're watching it from home. Because it's kind of like, yeah, they're all confused as to who each other are. And we're not getting a lot of explanation for how people are figuring out each other. When we see a couple people from off the rip say, "Nope, I know this is Tanisha." Shake susses her out instantly. Corinne says, "I
Corinne
can
knows yeah,
people's
people's
head
head
shapes."
shape.
Yeah, that's kind of her
That's her
thing. That's her superpower.
gift. I
Yeah,
will
she got.
say, I think that I am similar to Corinne in that I think that I can tell, like, the way like, people's, like, stature and their posture and,
Their
like, the way they
mannerism.
walk and,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
physical body kind of motions that I think that I would probably actually maybe not head shape specifically, but I think
Mhm.
that even with the, not being able to see the face and hear their voice, like, even with all of the decoys there, people super well or have spent a lot of time paying attention to, you'll probably figure that out. I think that I would probably be good at this. But maybe that's just me
Yeah,
pumping
and
my own tires.
there's some people this is going to be very easy to spot, right? Because Bobby Lights never shuts up, so it's very clear that okay, that's Bobby because he's walking around like the social butterfly that he is. But then you
Yep.
also have people like Anfisa who never says a word, and so it's probably really hard
She
to get
blended
her
in. Yeah.
right.
Well,
Exactly.
Bananas got 8 out of 9, so I'm assuming the one he didn't get was probably just Anfisa.
Either Anfisa or Omarosa, who was actually throwing the challenge. Now, Jenny, in Big Brother, you cannot win HOH back to back. You cannot be immune twice in a row due to winning the
Mhm.
main competition. You'd have to win a veto. Omarosa threw this challenge not to put a target on her back, so she doesn't even participate. She just kind of sits on the couch and chills. I'd probably guess
She
that Johnny
danced with
Bananas
Danielle.
she did dance for a little bit because Danielle's like, "Hey, get up," giving unsolicited advice again,
Yeah.
because we love a good villain. That's what they're good for. And so, yeah, she says, "I'm not doing this. I'm actually going to sit this one out because I don't want to put a target on my back." And I thought that was very, like, obviously astute for Omarosa, who knows that the more times you put somebody up for elimination, the more people you piss off because you got to put up 3
Mhm.
people at a time. But also, her knowing that, like, okay, I'm sitting out of this and allowing other people to do the dirty work is going to benefit me too. So she doesn't even try a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
I I was happy to see that she had that sense, but I'm also kind of weary of the game allowing her to keep competing if she's going to keep winning. Because what's to say Johnny Bananas doesn't win the next 3 competitions in a row? He just gets to dictate everything that's going on. And we've seen in like the Big Brother house this season on BB25, sometimes it's just hard to beat people that you normally would be able to beat because you can't beat them in competitions. So we could see a
It's like
Johnny Bananas
every
win streak come in.
it's like every week is the invisible HOH, but we
Mhm.
know it, and they just let that person compete again next week. And I mean, Bananas has basically said that this is what his strategy is. Now he's like, okay, I'm going to be a threat every single week, so or day, or I don't know what the timeline is here. Um, so I'm just going to win, and I think that because in the preview of the season, I felt like I saw like numerous situations where I think clearly things that were rewards. I think I saw Bananas and Omarosa. So like we could see Bananas continuing the same strategy of winning the challenge and keeping
Take
Omarosa
Rosa.
away from
Yeah.
other people. Come
Until
on the
somebody else can win and put
street.
her up,
Yeah,
he's gotta protect her because he's protecting himself by keeping her close. He keeps your enemies closer, your
exactly.
mortal enemies closer.
That's what he said. Yeah. So yeah, but I agree with you about the challenge. Like, I couldn't even tell the difference between like what some of the
Yeah.
things like were. Like they had name tags, and like we got like the Chiron every once in a while that said like who it was and like what their thing was. I don't know. It was like jester, seaweed, feathered
Right.
foe. Like I don't know what any of these things were. I did love though after the challenge when they like take the masks off, everyone's like makeup is smeared, like everyone is haggard as hell. And I was like, this is so deeply relatable. Like this is just like a nightmare. Poor
Yes.
Tanisha like can't see through the mask with her lashes.
Good times.
Yeah.
I'm happy
Yeah.
that Bananas won because he's going to give us the most drama very quickly. And he knows what he's doing in these competition shows. He knows how to be good TV. And so now we get at least one more episode of Bananas in the leadership spot as the supervillain of the
Mhm.
week. And I'm thinking that it's going to be fun. I think that we know enough about Johnny Bananas to know that even if he wasn't going to win the game, he's going to have a good time doing it.
Yeah, he will make good TV. He's literally the person with I think the most minutes of television
Hmm.
screen time of this cast at this point. So he knows what he's doing. He will be a presence as long as he is on this show, and I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying him being there, and I do think that we would be missing something if he were to go, but he's also like making it he's making it difficult for him to win this thing. But I guess if you can win back to back, then maybe it's fine. He said, okay, this is what I do. I'm just gonna win every single week. I don't know. Um, I'm very interested to see what Fairplay's storyline is because he's been very under the radar. We're getting like confessionals about him where he says like this is strategy like 101, like you don't win competitions early. So he was throwing as
Hmm.
well. He does not want to win. He's letting other people make drama and like you said running around giving high fives and just kind of like being in the background.
Mhm.
Is he gonna get his chance to turn it up? Like,
That's a
or
good
is he
question.
like, is it this not the same kind of game as like Survivor? You know what I mean? Less people, different game mechanics. Like, he might be playing too slow.
Yeah, he might be. He calls himself one of the best strategists in reality TV history, and I think it's good strategy to know where you stand socially in the house. And by walking around, high fiving people, staying out of drama, it should be doing him some good here. But I know before he goes home, if he is to go home, he's going to stir the pot a little bit because that's why we came
Yeah.
here to see Johnny Fairplay.
Yeah. He definitely, like, will turn it up when he knows he has to. I'm just, like,
Hmm.
very curious to see when that happens because a lot of it's very, like, self-aware, like, I am, like, in the back seat right now.
Hmm.
So, yeah, we will see when that starts to percolate, but I feel
Yeah.
like, through 3 episodes, as much as I've complained about the fact that they dragged out the elimination, um, I'm laughing out loud watching this show. Like, it's still
Yes.
very, very fun.
No.
So I'm having a good
This
time with
is
it.
time of my life, Jenny. Thank you again for allowing me to hit it or quit it with you because
Thank you. This
there's
is a
no
dream for
way,
me.
yeah, there's no way that Rob was going to be able to talk about this without us. And he ditched us. And I'm glad that I got to stand in for him. Rob will be back hopefully one day to guest. Hopefully we can bring in some guests moving
Yeah.
forward. We'll have to see how many other villains we can find in the RHAP universe. 'Cause I'm pretty sure there's a bunch that would love
I
to
got a
come talk about
few.
this show.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's lots to talk about and like the most of the cast is still here. So I'm really hoping that in some of these weeks we can get some of our villain experts to weigh in on some of this. But in the meantime, I've been loving the opportunity for the two of us to do this
Yes.
because like we love chaos and
Yes, and we are living in it right now. We are
exactly.
having the most chaotic time getting this podcast hosted and posted every week. So thank y'all for bearing
Somehow.
with us,
Yes,
right?
thank
And
you.
thank y'all for supporting us and leaving us some reviews, some good 5-star reviews. Go find the Hit It or Quit It feed for RHAP and let people know about House of Villains. Repost us, all that good stuff. Send more people our way because we want to keep giving you content like this at least through the end of the season. And maybe if there's
Mhm.
a season 2, we can come back.
I hope there's a season 2. I feel like there is no shortage of reality TV villains, and I think they struck gold here and they can they can return some people if they felt like, let's do it again. Let's run it back with a couple of these people, but throw in some new faces. Like there are no rules here. We don't even know what the rules of this show completely are. So,
Nope.
but yes, in the meantime, like Chappelle is saying, we would love some 5-star reviews and subscribe if you haven't already. Rob has a website.com/hit or quit feed. And we'll be back sometime next week, maybe a little bit later. Next week's gonna be a little chaotic, okay? It's gonna be a
Yes,
little
but that's what y'all signed
and
up for.
yeah, so you knew what you were getting, but we will not. So if it's a little bit late hitting your feed next week, do not panic. We have not abandoned you. Chappelle and I will be back to recap episode 4 next week. So don't worry. We have not quit. We will not quit.
We only hit.
It's we only hit here when it's Chappelle and I. But in the meantime, Chappelle, what else do you have coming down the pipe besides lots of travel? It sounds like.
Yeah, heading to LA for the Big Brother and Survivor live shows in Brea,
Jealous.
California. So that's going to be fun. Oh, no, Jenny, I miss you already, but soon I will see you
Okay.
in New
We'll see.
Orleans.
Exactly.
Yes, for the Survivor live show in December. And so check that out. If you haven't already bought a ticket, what are you waiting on? Go to
Mhm.
New Orleans or go to LA, whatever the case
Should
may be.
we should we do
Hmm.
a live should we do a
Yes,
live House of Villains? Because I
yes.
think it's gonna air while we're there.
Absolutely. We should do this live from New Orleans with a hand grenade in each hand. Like we can really make this happen. It would be the most entertaining podcast yet.
Oh.
Um, but
Leave a review
yeah,
if you want us to do that, actually. That's what we need to
please
know. Let us know in your reviews if you want Chappelle and I to do live
live, hit it or
NOLA
quit it.
Hit it or
Yes.
quit, yeah.
Hit it or quit it, know it alls. It's coming soon. But yes, traveling, podcasting, covering Below Deck here on Rob Has a Podcast on the Bravo Wrap Ups feed. Talking about Netflix shows on Nothing But Netflix. Last week we had Kirsten on to talk about Surviving Paradise. This week we're talking about Pain Hustlers. So check out those as well on Nothing But Netflix. Then you have me covering The Walking Dead on post show recaps. I'm still covering Black shows on the Connect on post show recap. So we're going to be talking about rap shit very soon and some movies as well. So check that out. It'll be me and Mari and the gang. And then suitspodcast.com is where Rob and I talk about the show Suits every week on Netflix or every day on Netflix. It's daily
Say,
Suits coverage.
I'm like,
Yeah.
did you decrease?
No. We're actually almost through season 6, so we could slow down, but we're almost season 6 of 9 is upon us, and so check that out. And get caught up if you're not a fan. What are you doing? If you're a fan of Rob, check it out. Rob is doing some of his best work there, and I'm having a great time with him. I also guested on the 90 Day Fiance podcast this week with Puya to talk about Gino and Jasmine and her hymen reconstructive surgery. So that was interesting.
I need to jump in with
You
no context just to hear
just
that.
listen to the podcast, please. Trust me on this one. Puya got a little blue. Puya's kind of a prude sometimes with us, Jenny. We're the bad guys.
You and I are always going like completely off the rails.
So you will enjoy that one because I got Puya to go off the rails a little bit too. So check that out. And then Scally and I just wrapped up our coverage of The Devil's Plan on Netflix, the Korean social strategy show. And it was amazing. And podcasting with Scally's great. So, check me out in all those places. And then, of course, follow me on Twitter at Chappelle's_show to keep up with everything else I have going on. What about you, Jenny? What you got?
Well, elsewhere on the Hit or Quit feed, Rob and I are still going strong with buddy games. We will be back within the next probably 24 hours with buddy games episode 8. I think you can find that on the Hit or Quit feed, and I think the finale will be next week, so that we're nearing the end of the buddy game, so check that out if you are not already doing that. And I am also covering F-Boy Island season 3 with Kirsten McInnes. We just released our podcast covering episode 3, so check that out on the Hot Dummies on Islands feed. And we will be taking a little week off while Kirsten is also away. It's busy time for the RHAP fam, but we will pick that up in about a week to do episode 4 and 5 together. And other than that, I might do one last hurrah with BB25 in the next week before all of that comes crashing down. And anything else you can find on Twitter at Jenny Autumn. And this has been a blast. I'm having so much fun doing this with you, Chappell. So thank you everyone who has been listening, and hit those 5-star reviews up. Let us know if you want us to do the live podcast in New Orleans. But in the meantime, we will check you out next week.
Bye.
Bye.